Hello, welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to talk about retention policy with adaptive scope in Microsoft 365. In previous video, we went through the steps how to create a retention policy for Microsoft Teams. We kind of went through explanation of retention policy usage, and also how to create a simple retention policy on Microsoft Teams chat. We did talk a little bit about Microsoft Teams data that's covered under SharePoint sites and groups. In this one, this is another video on a retention policy, but we are going to use a retention policy with adaptive scope. So what we are going to cover in this video, first we will talk about what is adaptive scope. What is adaptive scope? In Microsoft 365, back in probably 2 years ago, or maybe a little bit more than 2 years, Microsoft created this feature called adaptive scope. First, you need to have Microsoft E5 or Office 365 E5 license SKU to have this feature. What is the benefit of it? Traditionally, Microsoft had retention policy for a long time that they were retaining different datas in Microsoft 365. But that was sort of very hard to configure to be more adaptive, in the sense that if you had an organization, or if you have an organization that probably you will have a group of users that they need to have a different retention policy per your compliance. And then you have got another group that they are requiring a different retention period, a different retention policy per their compliance. So within one organization, probably you will have multiple group of users that they are requiring different set of retention policy periods. It was achievable in previous method that was called retention policy static method, but this one is giving you more features. It is more adaptive. It is more flexible what you can do. So what you are doing with the adaptive scope is basically you're grouping your users that they have got or sharing the same attributes. For example, you will say, well, the HR user should have a policy that should retain their chats for 5 years. And then you have finance users that they need to have a retention policy that's retaining them for 4 years, or let's say 6 years. And then another group within your organization for another period of time. Here, what you are doing is you're creating a different scope for different groups of your users, which is very easy. You can apply this to your users that covers the Teams chat and private channel messages. And then we will cover how many types of adaptive scope you can talk. So here with the adaptive scope, yes, you can target different groups of users per the user's attribute. And also, since Microsoft Teams channel chats are under the group mailbox, then you can also create another adaptive scope that, let's say that any channel that belongs to HR, all those chats should be retained similar to their users probably, right? So here, channel chats, share channel chats are retained through groups and other data inside that group, obviously. That is, now the question is, okay, we covered the user chats, we covered the channel chats. What about the files that are in OneDrive, and as well as the files that are in SharePoint? Now with the adaptive scope, you can also target SharePoint sites based on the names or specific attribute that you can define. You can say basically all HR sites, SharePoint sites should be retained for this amount of frame. Now, when it comes to the OneDrive, you can target OneDrive per the users as well. Basically saying if this user belongs to HR, all the OneDrive files should be grouped in that scope. Or you can also say if the URL name, for example, for that OneDrive is starting with some characters, HR or something else that is easily identifiable, then you can group that. So basically, you will have adaptive scope for users, adaptive scope for Microsoft 365 groups, and adaptive scope for SharePoint sites. This will cover all your data, specifically in Microsoft Teams, and obviously it will cover other areas too. Now, next, after this, I'm going to show you how to create adaptive scope for users. I will explain their different methods and attributes there. And then I will also create a retention policy targeting just for that adaptive scope. So we were creating kind of flexible policy that targets automatically that group of users. All right, let's head to our demo. Here, this is my test tenant. I'm going to go to Microsoft 365 Purview or Microsoft Purview portal or compliance.microsoft.com. I should be a compliance administrator role group. Now, once you're assigned the proper roles and you do have licenses for it in your tenant, you will see roles and scope. So under this, you'll create, and then you'll click on adaptive scopes. All your adaptive scopes will show up over here if you have any. If you don't, then you will create one. So let's say I'm going to say HR, say US HR Teams chat, or US HR users. Naming convention is important. So US HR users Teams chat. Let's say that's our target, that we are going to target only HR users in this case. We will do next here. I am not assigning any admin unit. And then next. So here is the three types that we can create. At a time, we can only select one. For this one, we are going through, you will select Microsoft Intra ID attributes. So the intra attributes we will use, such as name, last name, department, and things like that to categorize our users. That will cover everything. And this one is SharePoint sites, where if you have a proper naming convention, or your sites are easily identifiable through their names or URL or any refinable strings that you're defining it customly, but you can target those sites as well as for groups, as long as your naming convention is properly set and you can identify all HR groups, or through descriptions or through email, then you should be good to filter that out. But for us, we will target users first, and I will show you the difference there. You will see now this page is giving you a very graphical, easy to set up the query to define the user. So in my case, based on naming policy, I'm after US HR users. So what I'm doing here, I will click here. I'm saying if your country is equal to, we have an equal, is equal to, is not equal to. The value is US. Now this US value should be the same as your attribute that you're setting in your Microsoft Intra ID or Azure Active Directory for the country. So that's one condition. Next, I'm going to add another attribute here. I'm saying the country should be US or equal to US, and the department equal to HR. Again, whatever word you are using for your HR department in your Active Directory, that should match with this attribute as well here. You can go on and narrow it down as much as you want. But for us, for this example, it is basically identifying all the users in the US in the HR department for me. And then if you need a complex one, you can certainly do advanced query builder. Yeah, build your queries that way. Or if you don't need that complex environment, obviously this is easy to build. You will have different options here. If you go, you can go through office, street, city, email address, alias, and some attributes that you can also set through custom attributes of Azure Active Directory. So for us, it's all good. I'm going to do next. Simple. Now I have got my conditions and I'm submitting it. So what this will do is basically looking at your Azure Active Directory and finding all those users that are based in US in HR department and basically grouping them all for us. You can create multiple of them, different scopes, different groups, as many as you would like. And then once you have got your scopes selected over here, let me do one more just to show you. For example, I'm going to say this one is US HR Teams channel chat. In this case, I'm going to cover all the groups. So I'm not selecting anything. This one is Microsoft 365 groups, so I'm going to select that. So for me, again, the attribute, I'm going to say display name is equal to, or I can say starts with HR. So let's say you have set up a naming convention for your groups in a way that every single user that they are creating a team or a group, their department is prefixed to that name or display name or maybe email address. So you can select email address or display name or descriptions or name. But I'm going to say just display name starts with HR. And then obviously, if you have got a different method that identifying your groups, maybe in descriptions you will have is start with, or maybe is equal to an attribute that you're putting for US only in that group descriptions, then yes, this is how you will categorize that and do next and submit it. Now all the groups or the group chats, in this case we are going to target for US users. One is for group, others for users. Next, you will click on a data lifecycle and then Microsoft 365, where you will create a retention policy. So you will click on a retention policy here. You will see all your retention policy. If you don't have anything here, then obviously you will not see anything. New retention policy, I'm going to say US HR Teams chats and Teams data probably. Retain for 5 years or 4 years, whatever time you're putting, without delete. Then next, skip this one. Now you have got two options. In previous video we went through static. This one is for adaptive, so I'm selecting adaptive. And then it will ask me to select my scope, so I'm going to ask for scopes here. I created two scopes. I will select this one first. I will show you the difference. Now this one is scoped for users. You will see that I can only select Exchange mailboxes because that's individual users, and OneDrive accounts, that's individual users. And I can also do Teams chat and Teams private chat. If you notice, I don't have Teams and Teams channel chats here. That is because that is not a part of the user's mailbox. So I'm going to select Teams chat and also Teams private channel messages. These two are written to the mailbox of users. That's why you will see it. Or you can also target OneDrive and Exchange on another policy. So you'll create another one and select the same scope and do on OneDrive and Exchange. And then I'm going to add another scope Let's see another groups that I have. So I have got more options now. I can do this one, I can do this one, and I can do this one. So in this case, all Teams channel messages, shared channel messages, Teams chat, private chat, all those will be retained for me. I can also do 365 group mailbox if I want to, but that has to be a separate policy. In this case, just covering Teams. For 4 years, I said, so we need to do a custom one. I don't need months and days, so I will start the retention period based on when it is sent or received. That's what it means in Teams. After 4 years, do nothing because I do not want to delete it. Or you can set it to delete after 4 years, and then do next and submit. So what happens here is, as long as I have got this scope in place and this retention policy in place, when you're hiring a new HR users, automatically that HR user is under this retention policy. When that HR user is creating a team or a group, automatically that team chat messages and Teams or channel messages are all going to be under this policy. You don't have to do anything in terms of configuration as long as you're setting up your Azure Active Directory properly. That is all I wanted to cover in this video. Please let me know if you have any questions or if there are areas that I need to clear or define more clearly, or maybe if there's another video that you want to watch or you want to learn something that I can share with you, please feel free to put in comment. I appreciate your time and have a great day.